It's Late Night Lori. Who's late? I'm coming to you from a messy craft desk, but Lori's Little Bit of Crafting. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the United States coming to you. We're going to pretend it's before midnight on Thursday, November 20th, even though I'm a couple of minutes late. It's been a day. You know, you kind of know how I roll if you've been with me for a bit. So let me get my devices set up and so I can try to watch and see if anybody's joining me live. Well, that device doesn't want to load. We'll get there. I have faith. We'll get there. All right, one device is up. I'm just waiting. There we go. It's coming along. There. I think we're live. Whew. All right, so let's do a few of our quick announcements. Of course, I appreciate if you give me a thumbs up, hearts, share, subscribe to my channel, all those things that help me with YouTube distribution and sharing what I do with other people. I love to have people collaborate with me. So if you're joining, if you've not been here before, welcome. If you have been here before, welcome. Feel free to let me know where you're joining me from. It's fun to see all the different places that we can connect with. So a couple of quick announcements. While folks are coming live, I know some people like for me to get through my announcements first. So hopefully we'll pick up in a little bit. First ever Black Friday sale coming for Stampin' Up! November 25th. It will go until December 1st. Okay, there are some neat things. I've seen categories, not specific products necessarily. I mean, I have an idea. But there's going to be several things 40% off, so keep an eye out for that. That is going to lead right into Cyber Monday, where Stampin' Up! Is offering discount prices on the prepaid Paper Pumpkin subscriptions. So that will go from December 1st to December 9th. Subscription period ends on December 10th. So when you do your prepaid subscription, you will automatically get the December kit. And then you can suspend and unsuspend as you desire for whatever prepaid subscription period you have. So Paper Pumpkins are really fun. It's a monthly kit. It could be cards. It could be treat boxes. It could be tags. It could be seasonal. It could be all occasion. We get a couple of little glimpses ahead of time, but we never know for certain what the kit contains. So it's a little bit of a surprise. All right. Product of the month is coming in just a couple of short weeks. December is the launch for this new program. And if you have qualified purchases of $75 before tax and shipping, you will have the option of selecting the product of the month for $5 more. Okay. It might be a stamp set. It might be an embellishment. It might be designer series paper, but we're told it's going to be something cool. All right. You are limited to one product of the month per month. You can't pre-qualify. You can't do multiple purchases. So let's say I did $75 on December 1st and $75 on December 2nd. I can't get two of the products of the month. I can only get the product of the month once. All right, for that current month. If we're into the program and let's say I didn't get the December product, but there's still some December product left, and I place an order in January and I want that December product, I can order it if there's some left. Once they're gone, they're gone. They're not going to get more. But if then I also want the January product, I have to make another qualifying purchase to select that one. Hopefully that makes sense. Brushed with Beauty. If you didn't get this class, you might want to get this class. It's a virtual online class that's led by a concept artist and a product designer. Hello, Juju. I saw you were live tonight. How is your week shaping up? I also saw that you watched one of my replays, so I figured you were surviving. I know you said you were going to have a bad week, so it's Friday, right? It's Friday. All right, so Brushed with Beauty is the virtual class that you can purchase a class. There's also a suite that you can purchase that goes along with the class, or you can use things in your stash, right? Oh, yes. Do you work Friday, or are you off? Because you're saying good, it's done. So I don't know if that means your week is done and you get to rest on Friday. Hopefully that's the case. You work. Sorry. Every day's a weekend for me. Just saying. Retirement is awesome. All right. So I'm going to show this Brushed with Beauty set of products. I have not shown it before. I don't think I have. And I pulled, hello, Susan. I am well. How are you from Melbourne, Australia? Welcome. Retirement is awesome. Yeah, way awesome. And it was great. Like with me, we have a state retirement system. And because I had been with an employer for a long time, I had many years in the system. I had over 33 years in the retirement system. So when I went to work for the college, even though I wasn't old enough by their policy to retire, I had enough years in the system. So I said, bye-bye, I'm retiring. And I have not regretted a day of it. So, Juju, one of these days we'll celebrate your retirement. All right, so here are all of the colors that are in the designer series paper. And I simply went to the back of this Brushed with Beauty, and they're all listed here. So I pulled all of the colors. I have no idea what we're doing tonight because we are flying by the seat of my pants. Yeah, I had crafting this afternoon. For like 4 hours we crafted, talked and crafted. And then my husband went and got our granddaughter, so she was here this evening. So of course we had to go to Pizza Ranch. If you've heard me talk about Pizza Ranch, that's her favorite place. Hello, Honeybee Stampin' Hive. I don't remember your name, but I'm pretty sure you've been here before. Honeybees Stampin' Hive. I am pretty positive you've been here before, so welcome back. Yeah, that's true, Susan. She can retire making money from her journals. So where was I? So yeah, my granddaughter was here. We had to go out to eat with her. And then when we got done eating, of course, she wanted to play games. And then there was, story time and all of that. So, phew. Now I've been trying to get ready because I'm going to this crafting retreat this weekend. So, I got to get my act together for that too because I have to go on the road with my things. So we'll see how much we get done tonight. So flying by the seat of our pants, but this is our color palette. So it ranges. There's some greens and blues, and then the Darling Duckling, Calypso Coral, and this is the Basic Beige, Petal Pink. It's a really light color. All right. And these gems, I love these gems. So we've got, they don't put the colors on here, but it's probably in the catalog or online. This looks like, it almost looks like it's a basic beige, but that wasn't one of the colors. Let's take a look here again. Early Espresso. Huh. Interesting. So I'm not sure what color that is, but this is Calypso Coral and white. And, oh, I'm losing that. So that might be basic beige. I'm not really sure. But what color is that? And I'm really curious because I wonder if there was a color that was missed. Unless this is just a light tint of early espresso. That could be a very light tint of early espresso. So anyway, let's take a look at these. Hello, Yuda. Some of you are coming up with different names showing up. Like usually Yuda, yours comes up as Yuda, and Juju's comes up as Juju, but I don't know if things are logged in a little different or not. So anyway, let me stash these so that I don't have any sliding off the pack. But these are flat-ish. They're not super raised. They are raised, but they're not big, gaudy gems. So those should be fun to work with. Oh, so YouTube is doing the handle thing. Okay, good to know. Because yesterday I think people were showing up the old way. I don't pay attention to the changes sometimes. All right, so we have an embossing folder on this with this set, and hopefully you can see it's like a stitched crosshatch sort of pattern on there. You should be able to see with that too what it is. So we might play with that tonight. We might not. I have no idea. And then we've got the Petals of Beauty stamp set and the Petals of Beauty dies. Now remember, this is the new packaging. All of the stamp sets that are coming out from now on will be photopolymer, which are my absolute favorite because you can see through them. And sometimes if you mess up with your stamping and maybe don't get the whole image, you can actually line it up and make it look as if you did it right the first time. So I love the photopolymer stamps. Yes, they stain, but it doesn't affect their functionality. And then the dies, now we see the artwork. So it's going to be much easier to tell if you are missing a die when you do your head count to put your dies away. And then we've got the Words of Beauty. And I like it too that Stampin' Up! Started naming the dies the same as the stamp sets. Because it used to be they would name them differently, and then it was hard to kind of keep track of things. And I like to keep mine in alphabetical order. So this is going to be much better for me. Plus, you know, you've got like 4 of these and they take up about the same amount as one stamp case before. I know some people don't like them, but I am a fan. I am a big fan. All right, so I'm going to show you quick. I think I showed you one other time, but I'm going to stamp these onto just a piece of copier paper. Hello, Linda Dickinson. Oh, and I like these too because there's just one slot for the flap to go into. That's really handy for me because sometimes it's hard for me to get those back in. So what I plan on doing with all of my stamps is I'm just going to take off this lightweight piece because that covers up where you actually stamp, you know, the side that you stamp. And I am going to use my, maybe we'll use Secret Sea. Secret Sea is kind of a good color. And just in case I get messy, let's just put down a little piece here. I am going to ink this up and hopefully not get myself an inky mess. All right, because when we look inside the stamp case, of course, there is no indication of what stamp goes where, right? Where the old cases, sometimes Stampin' Up! Used to actually print on the acetate what stamps there were, and then they stopped doing that. So I'm just going to go like this. Hopefully I didn't smear it. All right, that works. All right, and then I can just chamois this whole thing. Now let's get that off my paper there. So I can just chamois this whole thing. And I love my chamois. Usually for my classes, I have my chamois cut in half and I just use a regular scissors because they don't really need a full-size one, but I like the full-size one here. All right, so now I'm going to put this little plastic protector piece right back on here. And now I can see what stamps belong where and if I'm missing one. All right. Yes, I could go like this, but they don't line up, do they? Because this is expanded so we can read it a little bit better, because sometimes I like to work without my glasses. All right, so that way I know everything is where it needs to be. All right, so this, I am just gonna go ahead and put right inside here. I could glue it in there. I don't have to glue it in there. It doesn't matter. I will probably trim this down a little bit because half a sheet of typing paper is a little big. Let's see if it fits. It fits in there, but we may end up trimming that down just a little bit. All right, so that's the first one, and here's the dies. So this just because we could actually stamp on the background piece and we don't have to fussy cut all of these. Woohoo! You know how happy that makes me, Juju? So this will do the outline, and it would also do the words. So you could do two different colors, right? So you can have your fussy cut background and your letters. I love it. All right, and then we've got just, and then we've got because again. So they're different sizes. So one's a little bolder. So you could do 3 layers. Huh, who knew? All right, so we may or may not use these today, but I want to get this stuff prepped because I'm going to take this all with me on my little crafting retreat this weekend and maybe have some more samples for you for next week. All right, and then the Petals of Beauty, these are all foliage and flowers. And then I'm going to do the same thing with these flowers and foliage, and I'm just going to peel off that back piece. Maybe. That's pretty sticky. All right, and we'll hang on to that. I don't want to lose it. And I've got that piece ready. I'm just going to trim this down right away. So let's just take like a 1/4 inch or so off of there. Yeah, that'll work. So instead of 5.5, just do it 5 1/4 if you want to do it the way I'm doing it. Whoops. They were clinging to my trimmer. All right. And then let's go ahead and ink these up. Now these are kind of like distinctive, it looks like. So we may get different textures. And I can tell that because I can see some shading in here. Can you see this? Oh, because it gets too light or too dark. But you might be able to see, like on this flower, there you can kind of see the dots on it from the processing of the dot or the stamp, and on that one. So when we lay this down, let's try to maybe do it straight, Lori. I'm gonna lay that down, and then I'm just gonna use this. All right. I think I got everything. What I could do, let's see. Yeah, it looks like it. Close enough for what I need, right? All I need to know is where my stamps belong. I don't need a pretty image on there. And I should have probably washed this before I stamped with it, because sometimes there's Sometimes there's like machining oils on them. Beautiful. Look at that. Nice. Oh, there's a little bit of ink still in that big one. There we go. That's pretty good. Yeah, that's good. All right. So they used to call those distinctive stamps, where with the photopolymer they could make really pretty designs on them. You know, so that it's shading. And if this was inked up better, I think it would show up the shading much better. Hello, Nicole. The other night, you wanted me to do a slider card, Nicole. And I did it, but you weren't here. Or at least you didn't chime in. Do you rinse your chamois? I do rinse my chamois on occasion. Not super often. But the color doesn't usually track. It might get on my fingers sometimes if I'm touching it. But usually it's fine on my stamps. I don't notice that anything comes out. And usually, you know, I can just blot it on and it like absorbs the ink off my stamps. So usually if my chamois gets a little on the dry side is when I rinse it. Otherwise I don't, as a regular habit, rinse them. You're probably going to think I'm a slob, but you know, it is what it is. Okay, you weren't here, and yes, we did have fun. So you'll have to go back a couple of days. It's in there. We made a slider card. It was fun. And I may have already given it away. I don't remember. I'll look around, and if I have it, I'll show it. All right, so let's take a look at these papers. All right. And then it also uses the vellum. So this is the new 12 by 12 vellum. You have one, but you haven't used it much, so it's always dry. Yeah. But I love mine. I love my chamois. There's also, I don't even remember what it's called now. The cleaning pad. So one side of it is where you spray your cleaner, and it's like brushes, you know, it's just all like a brush material. And then the other side is what you use to dry. What is it called? But you just basically rub you spray it on the wet side, and then you rub your stamp in it, and then you put the stamp on the drier side, and then you should be done. To me, it's too much trouble. Most of our inks, you know, these are all water-based inks. They don't need any kind of cleaner, really. So I just run mine underwater a lot of times, and it's just water in the chamois. Is it called a scrubber? Thank you. The Stampin' Scrub, or the Stampin' Scrubber. Yeah, that sounds right. All right, so we've got vellum. 12 by 12 vellum is back. And actually, I think before it used to be 8.5 by 11, so now it's 12 by 12. All right, so let's take a look at these papers, and then we'll get down to Stampin' Scrub. I think that is it, Linda. Thank you. All right, so we have 6 designs. I think that looks like it should go that way to me. That's really pretty. I like this a lot, but I like that too. And this is just like a, not really like a paint pouring, but something like that. And this is Darling Duckling with white flowers. And this is our Mossy Meadow. Those are pretty. Our Calypso Coral. So this is almost like a stucco, a tinted stucco maybe, or embossing paste. And this is the Early Espresso with the tint, the light tint. Lost Lagoon. These are really kind of pretty. And then, again, that's got to be the Early Espresso as a light tint. Ah, Linda, you're funny. Well, you're obviously better than me because I couldn't even remember at all what it was called. So, all right, so those are really pretty. Now, let's figure out which of those we want to use. So let's have me spread these out a little bit. And you can tell me which one we should use for our card. All right, so we've got 1, 2, or 3. Out of those 3, which is your favorite? Maybe we can get some multiple for the same ones. And I'm thinking, oh, good choice. That's what I was just pointing at. This one looked really pretty. All right, so we'll move these others out of the way. So now we're gonna say, all right, 3, sorry, 3 is already out. Now we're gonna say Calypso Coral or Mossy Meadow. Coral or mossy? Kind of like when you go to the eye doctor. Is this better or is this better? And I always have to say, I don't know, put it back. Oh, put it back. Let me check again. Coral or mossy? We're trying to narrow it down to 1. Coral, coral, coral. All right. And then we're at little coral, big coral, or yellow. It's Darling Duckling. Little coral or big coral? Little, big, or yellow? Little, big, or yellow? What's it gonna be? Little. That's what I like the best. We are all on the same page. All right, so let me get this out of the way. We are going to use Very Vanilla as a card base. Just because that's what I have. Because that was one of the colors in the, oh, sorry, Juju. You're a little slow on the draw. So I am going to score this at 4 1/4. Maybe we'll do another one with the Darling Duckling. We'll score at 4 1/4. We'll see. We'll see how far I get. And then I'm going to cut it 5 1/2. So we do have a second card base, just in case. And then we are going to trim this. I'm thinking we need a mat of either the Mossy Meadow or the Calypso Coral. There's some Darling Duckling in here too and some Petal Pink. But I think one of the deeper colors would look better as a matte. Just because I don't think that's going to stand out enough against the card base. What do you think? So I'm going to trim this to 4. Juju are oh. All right, so we'll do that. I'm gonna go get 3 colors. I'm gonna go get yellow, Mossy Meadow, and I'll get the Calypso Coral. Yellow, Mossy Meadow, and Calypso Coral. All right, let's cut these down. So we're gonna go 4 1/8 and 5 3/8. All right, so let's have this one grow on you and see what you think. Like that. let me put this in perspective here. Do you want me to zoom in at all? Or are we good at a distance? And I see some of my things are causing shadows here. It's a little dark, huh? There, maybe that helps a little bit. All right, so here is the Mossy Meadow version. Let's do a Darling Duckling, 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. Well, that doesn't look so bad. That looks more spring-ish. That actually looks kind of sweet. And then let's try Calypso Coral. 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. And we may need to, I'm going to cut another one of those. So 4 by 5 1/4. So here's a Calypso Coral version. That looks kind of nice. And then we're going to cut this right away too. And I'm just going to cut this at 6. Well, we can do 5 1/4 for this one. So we can take a look here. Now you can see all 3 versions with a different color background. So which do you like? And I'm just slicing, I'm chopping this up. As Kelly Bertucci from Australia would say, chop it. Love it and chop it. Chop it up because we're more likely to use it if we've got it cut up. Mossy Meadow, you surprised me, Juju. All right, we're gonna leave these sitting out here so we can let those grow on us. And then we are going to cut a piece of our vellum. And I think we're gonna do that. Let's take a look. The flowers do pop more, I think, with that one. So let's see, if we've got 4, let's do 2.5. Let's just take a look here. Hello, Tanya. Yeah, let's do 2.5 inches. You know what I'm most cautious about right now that I've been for like the last week? I'm trying to figure out how I sliced my thumb on my slicer. If I did it, if I had my thumb here when I moved it back and sliced it, that might be kind of small. But I think it'll work. So let's go to about here. Let's see how far, kind of measurement that gives us. To 4 1/4. So we've got 2.5 by 4 1/4. We're just going to put that on there. Let's cut another one. Okay. And then let's get this put away. And we are going to get, I think we might stamp on Calypso Coral for this one and emboss with white. Let me get some more Mossy Meadow. And let's decide what we want to say. We could do these and just have just because, or we could do just because I think you're amazing. And if we use the block letters, I want to emboss, I think, because I think that'll stand out the best. And then we'll kind of cut them into word groups to spread them out on our card. What do we think? Big letters die cut or block letters embossed? Dies or embossed? Big? Dies it is. And I think we'll use this too. All right, so let's find the big dies. Just because. All right, we can use a little Betsy. I just have to cut this down a little bit. Oh, I should maybe do adhesive sheets, huh? You think? Yeah. I think adhesive sheets will make my life easier. We'll go like this. All right. Glad I thought of that. We'll turn these into automatic little stickers. Alrighty. Juju. Good idea. All right, so we got to make sure we keep track of the I on the J. Or the dot on the J, I mean. Don't want to lose that little guy. Although, I was thinking we could have tried to do what we did the other night and just use it straight out of the die to keep everything spaced. I wonder if that'll work. Shall we give it a try? We might have to glue our card together first though, huh? So let's just do that quick before I get too far ahead of myself. All right, let's use some seal on this. I'm feeling centered tonight. We'll see if it works. Make sure I have it opening the right way. Right, and our vellum, whoops, I need this first. Hot diggity. Now with this, I'm just going to put a strip of seal right in the middle. And seal is pretty low profile with the seal I have found. It doesn't show up a whole lot. It does, you can see where it's a little darker where the seal is on that vellum. But dimensionals, you can see those through super easy, right? Did you know the dot on letters official name is a tittle? I did not know that. That kind of goes with our Tata paper from the Modern Christmas. Everybody knows about the Tata paper, right? Or the butts. If you don't know about that, let me know and I'll go grab a piece. I'll go grab a piece of that paper. I don't know if this is going to work. No, it's coming out. So the other day we had dies in there and do I need a background piece on here? Or do you think that'll stand out enough? Oh, and I guess I didn't look if you guys said you wanted me to zoom in. Do you think that stands out enough? Or should I make another layer for the letters? Such a quandary. So when I have the inside pieces of the letters, but I've used adhesive sheets, I don't, yeah, I'm thinking another layer too. I don't worry too much about poking those out ahead of time because a lot of times they will come out with the adhesive backing. And then I have the dot for the J right there. All right, so now what color? Maybe let's see. That's not going to be enough contrast. We could do Calypso Coral behind it. That might be just enough. Let me put some adhesive on that, and then we'll see. I need another piece. The coral. Good choice, Juju. You were probably typing before I said anything. Yellow. Yeah. Darling duckling to the rescue. Let me pull these dies out and see how big. Oh yeah, that'll fit on this piece of, oh, except I need 2 of them. I need just also. And I'm doing with the smaller of the 2 outline ones. All right, that's not going to work. We're going to have to get a bigger piece of Calypso coral. No worries, I have more. There is more. We just need to add the adhesive to it. Some of that does come off on the edges. Usually if you kind of pull it at an angle, it stays more intact. But I'm not too worried about the edges out here because that's not going to be where our letters come from anyway. You know? Alrighty. I'm gonna get a silicone mat. So then I don't have to worry about those jump and ship on me. Hello, Bonnie. All right. Just because. Here we come. Oh, I still don't know if Vicki ever got her little die cutting machine to work. She was struggling with that the other day. All right, so now we can do the assembly of these letters. And then let's find the dot. I was hoping I could get that backing off there first. This might be a challenge. This might be a challenge. I might just have to use a blend and color it on there. I'm determined though, so be patient with me. feel like I'm getting it. There. Success. All right, so we'll take out this middle piece for the J. You put your die cut machine on a Lazy Susan so that you can just turn it around and run them through either hand. Okay, let's put because on here. I think that was a lot better than having to use glue. All right, so let's get rid of the silicone mat. We'll bring our card back in here. Oh. Okay, cool. All right, let's take this backing off. We'll see if those inside pieces get pulled out. It did. Nope, one's still in here. There we go. So I'm just going to gently lay that there. And then let's peel this one off. And this one just has the J, so maybe I'll just go ahead and push that one out right away. So just because I think it might have to go kind of straight. No, I don't know. I don't know. What do you think? Does that work for you? It doesn't seem like it's centered how I want it to be. Does that look all right that way? It seems like the just should be over a little bit more. Let me clean up some of this debris quick. And then I wanted to use this die and make a little foliage piece. And I want Mossy Meadow for that, I think. Hopefully I won't lose these. Let me put these on my magnets so I don't lose them. Put that back over there. You would change it to a side card. Oh, that's a good idea. That is an awesome idea. See, that's why you ladies are here. That made a big difference. Duh. See, I'm ready for bed. That made a big difference. That works so much better. Let's twist our vellum just a little bit. That does. That looks much better. But now I feel like it needs something. Let me do a piece of foliage and just see. Who knows if this will work. Of course, when we put some embellishments on it, that'll make it a little more glitzy. It does look better sideways. My machine is sliding around here. I gotta get the plates in the right position here. There we go. I have too much stuff on my table. Does that help or hurt it? Or I could do a different color. What do you think? Foliage or no foliage? Nice. And there's not a stamp on that. That's just a cutout. Lori and the clutter is going to slide off the table. Pretty much. Pretty much. It's close. Although I've got a clamp lamp over here. You can kind of see the glare. That kind of stops some things from going over the edge. Too busy. But it seems like it needs something. Let's just for kicks do bling. Yes, bling will make it shinier, definitely. I just don't want the words lost either, because they are pretty cool. So let's just try something. We can scrap it. Now I'm just going to set these on here. But because this is a solid base, we could actually put this up on dimensionals. I think that might help. What do you think? What do you think? With the Very Vanilla? I could always put this on the inside of the card as an embellishment. It's going to get pushed on pretty soon, yes. Then bring on the bling. All right. Let me just straighten this out a little bit. All right. Let's do strips. strips will be easy. And strips can be bent as well. It does kind of tie that to the base, doesn't it? All right, so I'm just going to kind of gently set that on there. Okay. Just because. All right, bling. Oops, that one doesn't want to stay. All right, let's get some more debris cleaned up here. All right, there we go. Take your pick tool. All right, I'm thinking the bright Calypso Coral. What do you think? Is 3 enough, or do we need 5? I feel like this is a little crooked. That was kind of fun. I hope. So I'll take all of these to the stamping retreat, basically, that I'm going to be at for the weekend. Again, I am not certain if I'll be live the next 2 nights or not. I think I will be, at least checking in to show you what I'm playing with, maybe. We'll see. Nice. There was no ribbon with this, so we can't do ribbon, but that might be a little much anyway. And then this, I think I'll just put inside. So when I put a layer in, that can just go inside to kind of ground that layer. And what I'll do is I'll do a Mossy Meadow with another piece of the Very Vanilla. There. That'll work. So thank you everyone for chiming in. Thank you, Yuta. It should be fun. There's not going to be a lot of us. And I've never done a retreat with these gals. I should say I haven't done a retreat weekend. With one of the gals, she did come to like a one-day event that I did with my upline and a sideline. So I know it'll be fun. We'll have fun. We'll have a good time. And I'll be taking a little Tippy Cow. We've talked about Tippy Cow before. Has anybody had Tippy Cow? It might be a Midwest thing. because we have a lot of cows in the Midwest. But she wanted me to bring my Tippy Cow. It's a rum flavored. I've got mint, orange, chocolate, and vanilla, I think. Yeah, Tippy Cow. So funny story. So because we have a lot of cows in Wisconsin, obviously there's a cow on here that I'm guessing the cow tipped over because of the alcohol, the rum. But when I worked on the ambulance, when I worked for the fire department, and Juju, you'll probably understand this. When you have diabetic patients that, haven't eaten or whatever, and then their blood sugar goes too low and then they are not responsive, we would get calls for that. And what would they call them? A tip up. Some of the guys on the rig would say, yeah, we got a tip up. And then we'd go and we'd give them a little IV. So you go cow tipping. Never heard of Tippy Cow. It's yummy. So if you like a Bailey's Irish cream, that's the premise, but it's different colors. So there's the Shamrock Mint, there's the orange cream. So that tastes like a creamsicle, like a frozen popsicle creamsicle. Delicious. And then there's a mint and a vanilla. And then around Christmas time, I've also seen a peppermint that comes in a red stripe bottle, red and white stripes. So anyway, all right. It's going to be a fun weekend. I will try to touch base over the weekend. Thank you all for popping in and creating with me tonight. It's always more fun to create with friends. And until next time, just because we're all going to be happy crafting, right? Good night, everybody. Oh, Yuda, I don't know how it is on cereal because I don't eat cereal. Good night, everybody.